My name is Krista Carriger. I am the Associate Director of Lower School Admissions here at In America Education. We are so excited to have you wherever you're Zooming in from. So good morning, good evening to you, good afternoon. We are joined today by, we're switching gears a little bit from our last presentation. So switching from an all-girls school to an all-boys school. And we are very excited that we are able to have the Director of International Admission and the International Student Coordinator with us, Crystal Rooney. We are so excited to have Avon Old Farms join us today. It is a Connecticut boarding school for boys created by the Connecticut's first licensed female architect. So that is a very interesting fact to know. And so Avon Old Farms is in Connecticut for grades 9 through 12. Again, it is an all boys school, and it is a really great place for them to discover their true identity and explore school life without any reservation, kind of how we saw it before with Dana Hall for girls. This is a really great focus for boys to really guide and challenge them to find their passion, gearing their learning for how boys learn best, and really creating that foundation for them to mature both emotionally and philosophically. So we are truly grateful for you joining us today. So thank you again so much. And Crystal Rooney, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much, Krista, for this wonderful introduction. I feel like you've really captured the essence of Avon Old Farms so well. So I'm very happy to meet with you online as well as with your families, and hopefully, what I'll be able to tell them about Avon will give them a good impression of what their son's experience would be like at Avon Old Farms School. We've had students coming through your consultancy before who are absolutely stellar and thriving. So I think I really believe in the all boys education, and I hope to be able to let that come across in my presentation.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And before we get started, I just want to make sure that the translation feature that you have checked off the appropriate boxes before we go ahead and get much further into the presentation. So making sure that you saw our email to check, that your speaking language is English to translate into Chinese.
Yes, I have done that. So I hope that your audience can see that as well. I
Perfect.
can see it on my screen, Krista, so I think it's okay.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Yeah, sometimes if you speed up too much, I think it has a hard time translating. So we just have to
Okay.
make sure that our pace is very, very steady throughout.
Yes,
Um,
thank you for letting me know that. That's perfect. Should I share my screen at this point?
yes, perfect. You are free to take the reins, and we are looking forward to hearing more about Avon Old Farms directly from you. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Well, hello, everyone. As Krista said, my name is Crystal Rooney. I've been with Avon Old Farms School for quite a long time. First, I was a parent at Avon Old Farms School. My son was a student there, and he had an excellent experience and made a very conscious decision of making the choice for a boarding school with only boys. He thought it would really serve him well, and it has. He's currently already post college, so he did definitely have a good experience also transitioning to college, and then in his professional life now, still connecting with the students from Avon Old Farm School and his very good friends. But let me not get distracted by that, and just say welcome. This is a picture of some of the architecture that we have at Avon Old Farm School. You can see that the building is quite old. It was designed, as Krista said, by a female architect named Theodate Pope Riddle. And we are almost 100 years old. In 1927, our school opened as an all boys school. We've always been an all boys school, and we are very proud of that. We are also very steeped in traditions. As you can see, our students still wear the tie and jackets, and that is our dress code. And it's another one of our traditions that we're very proud of. If you look in the United States at all boys boarding schools, you'll notice that we are in the top 3 in the whole of the United States for a true boarding population all boys school. In our school, 75% of the boys are boarding at our school. That is a very important aspect to mention about our school, because your sons will be there on the weekends, coming from far away from China. And what's really nice for them is that on the weekends, it's not just the international students that are boarders. On the weekends, we have 300 boys at school, of which over 200 are American, and then we have about 70 international students altogether. So always a good aspect to keep in mind when you're choosing a boarding school for your son, wherever that may be. A little bit more about our location. We are located in Connecticut, right halfway between Boston and New York. For the families, we offer free airport transportation if they are arriving on the regular days after vacations and the beginning of the school year, but also just before the vacations. So those are some important aspects to keep in mind. And it's nice for them to have the convenience of having an airport shuttle from the school. On this picture, you see a couple more pictures of our beautiful campus. The first picture is already starting to get familiar to you with the beautiful old buildings. But then we also have 800 acres of green land around our campus. We have beautiful sports fields. We have a log cabin where we have weekly cookouts for the members of the Nimrod Club that do a lot of outdoor activities. And as you can see on the bottom right, we have a pond. So when the weather is nice, they certainly are to have fun and jump into the pond under supervision, of course. This is another picture of our campus. You can see the 4 quad building dorms. In total, we have 7 dorms on campus. 4 are located in this original part of our campus. As Krista mentioned, and as I mentioned, making a decision for a boys' school is quite unique. I know it is not something that is common in China, if it exists at all. We at Avon strongly believe in the all-boy single-gender education. We are finding that boys are very focused, and we're also finding that through experience that boys develop differently than girls, especially in the teenage years, and we are catering to that, which means that our teachers are specifically trained to know how to engage boys and get that also important instruction across to the boys. It's not just about their academic experience, even though the non-distraction and the focus is very much helpful, but we also see it in community service, we see it in athletics, and we see it in their social life. As I mentioned, our teachers are specifically trained to work with boys. And what that means is that we find to have a student be an active part of the classroom is very, very helpful. We call it relational learning. You see the teachers here in these pictures being very active in being engaged with the students. So they are going to be having a conversation with the teacher instead of being talked at, right? It's not a college lecture situation, but it truly is an engaged classroom, which means that the student always has to be prepared, to answer the teacher's questions. They need to be prepared with their homework assignments, and they need to be able to really execute working on projects. And what we find over the years is that really that interactive kind of classroom makes that they really, first of all, love learning. They really are engaged and, enjoying that classroom experience. But at the same time, they are also really absorbing the content so much better. So this is definitely a model that we will continue to feature at Avon Old Farm School. Like I said, relationships are so important, not just between the boys as a brotherhood, but also as the student and his teacher, the student and his coach, the student and his arts teacher, and the student with the dorm parent. Every dorm in our school, all 7 of our dorms, have a faculty member that lives in the dorm with their family. And those relationships and supervision aspects are very important for our school. Here you see the students walking back from our morning meeting. It's another one of our traditions. We have morning meeting 3 times a week, and that is an opportunity for the student to sit with his advisor. I currently have 5 advisees myself, and I have a very close eye on them. I have them with me during morning meeting, so I can check in with them. How are you doing? Is your homework done? Did you find a nice sport? Which clubs did you sign up to? And all these different parts of campus life for them. So, and then in addition to seeing them 3 times a week during morning meeting, I also have lunch with them twice a week. So the relationship with the advisor is the first one and really the most important one for the students. But very important as well is that it's important to the parents. I'm the first person that parents will reach out to when they have a concern about their son, being that the class may be too difficult or too easy for him, or maybe he has some issues with the sports to pick, or sometimes it's as simple as helping them open a bank account or helping them, order some packages. So we really are very hands-on in our approach with our advisory, and it's a nice liaison function between the students and the parents. As I talked about boys learning differently, so I'm going to skip this slide. I always tell parents and the students, no matter where we are in our school life and in our admission process, school comes first. Transcripts are important. We are all getting ready to prepare your son for his college application. That is our goal. We are a school first and foremost. But in addition to that, we have this wonderful program at Avon Old Farm School, and it's called Prep Forward, which really builds on the boy's character. We want to deliver a boy that is ready for college academically, but we also want to deliver a boy to college that has a strong character, and as we call him, a man of Avon. So with our Prep Forward program, we work on personal growth, we work on leadership, we work on life skills, and we work on health and fitness. All those things that are not in the classroom, but are so important during the teenage lives, especially if your son is a boarder with us, far away from home, and just in need of, additional instruction and guidance on how to become a good man. So this slide tells you a little bit about how we do things beyond the classroom. As you can see, we have several programs during the week. We have a Saturday program. We have the morning meetings. We have the advisor lunch. We really encourage the boys to be leaders in the classroom and outside of the classroom with clubs and in their dorm. And maybe they would want to be editor of the school newspaper or be a part of the Red Cross Club. All those things are possible and very much encouraged. I'm finding that with my advisees, each of them has 2 club activities in addition to their schoolwork. And I'm also happy to report that all their schoolwork is excellent, and they pretty much have all A's in their classroom, but are still able to be participating in clubs and community service. Here are 2 students working on a 3D printer. As you can imagine, STEM is a very important aspect of studying at Avon Old Farm School. Our engineering program is very, very strong. We have a robotics team that participates competitively. And in addition to that, we have a club, Forge, which is our engineering club and a very, very popular destination for the boys. Another aspect of the school has been our arts program. We have been so lucky to have some incredible artists at the school. And I think the teacher is here in one of the pictures on the bottom right. Mrs. Pinton has been elected now to Arts Teacher of the Year. She has a staff of 4 full-time arts teachers. So we are just incredibly fortunate to have many award-winning artists at the school. We are also affiliated with a museum. It's the Hillstead Museum in Farmington. Was designed by the same architect as Avon Old Farm School. And some of our students, as an extracurricular activity, will be a tour guide in the museum. So art's important. But it wouldn't be an all-boys school if I wouldn't say that athletics is very important. Every day after school, around 2:30 in the afternoon, students will get ready for their afternoon activity. And a lot of sports are being held in the afternoon. Every season, we have 3 seasons. Every seasons, the boys have multiple sports they can choose from. For example, in the fall now, we're very busy with American football. And with soccer and cross-country running. The winter time, there would be squash and hockey and basketball. They enjoy it. It is very nice for them after concentrating for hours in the classroom to let off some steam in the afternoon before dinner and study hall. Oh, sorry. I want to make sure my slide goes. I'm going back one slide. Here we go. Preparing for a great future is our goal. We want them to be ready academically, socially, for their step into college. I know that the consultancy you work with often also guides you through the college counseling process, and they can do that hand in hand with college counselors at our school. And we very much enjoy the partnership that we have with the students consultant. We've had some incredible successes in this field of placing students in, top colleges all around the United States and the world. So that very often is a great partnership between the students, the counselor from home sometimes, and the school counselor as well. This is the big day, right? The day that they graduate. This young man was one of our huge success stories. I know him personally quite well. He is now a senior in college. And what we saw with him is that, as you can see, a lot of academic awards in his hands there. But in addition to that, also very involved on the campus. And that is exactly what we are looking for. The curiosity and the willingness to participate is important. Now, being an all-boys school, you may wonder if the boys are going to meet girls at some point during their 4 years with us. And the answer is yes, they will see girls. Every weekend, we have activities with our sister school. Our sister school is Miss Porter School in Farmington. And this is quite a formal event. This is a prom. But during the school year, we have different events with the girls' school that could be anything from a talent show to Halloween nights to cookouts to food trucks. A lot of activities every weekend, either on our campus or on the girls' school campus. And the school campuses are about 4 kilometers apart. And of course, we have school shuttles bringing the students to us, or we bring them to the girls' school campus. My slide says Avon is fun, but I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the first few days when your son arrives at Avon. We are making those first few days a lot of fun, but at the same time, it's going to be a busy few days, because what our goal is for those first few days is for the boys to get settled, to get to know the routine at Avon, to get to know their dorms, to know how to walk to class. And for that, we have these fun activities. We have a system of Big Brothers. The Big Brothers are current Avon students that will reach out to your son in the summer before he comes to our school. And that is a great opportunity for, your young student to ask questions about the dress code, about the school books, and about all kinds of activities that will be happening at the school. And, maybe he's worried about something. So the Big Brother system is great. It starts in the summer and it continues on throughout the first year at Avon Old Farm School. After these first fun days, we start class on Friday after their arrival. By that time, your son will already know half of his class. He will already walk around the campus a little bit more confidently because he knows where he's going. And the boys are just incredibly friendly and welcoming. This picture was taken a few years ago at a faculty member's house. The person with the apron on was cooking a dinner at his house, and all these international students were invited. And if I look at the pictures, I recognize all these faces from China. I see a student from Mexico. I see a student from the Ukraine. I see a student from South Korea. So our international community is very diverse, and we really celebrate it. It is my role on campus to take care of those, around 70 young men, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I was an international student in America myself one day a long time ago. So I remember those days. And with that experience in my pocket, I just have a special place in my heart for international students. I know what they're going through, and I know what their parents are going through. So I'm always there to help them on campus. Mr. Webb in the yellow apron is coming to China this fall. He will be in Shenzhen, Beijing, and Shanghai. If your son is interested in interviewing with him in person, he is available for that. And you can set up, of course, your appointments through your consultant, Krista, and all her colleagues. This is a picture of our mascot, the winged beaver, with some of the boys that are participating in our choir. We have 3 choirs on campus, and in addition to that, a vibrant musical program. We represent pretty much all instruments are represented in our jazz ensemble and our wind ensemble. And so if your son plays a musical instrument, that is definitely a good place to continue at Avon Old Farm School. A little bit more of a picture of the beautiful, unique architecture as well as the beautiful fall colors. As I mentioned earlier, traditions are important at Avon. I don't know if your son ever read the Harry Potter books, but for the boys that enjoy Harry Potter, our school very much looks like Hogwarts, and especially when we have the year-end festival, which is what you see here. This is a picture of our dining hall. We call it the refectory. And you see all flags that are representing the different countries represented at our school. And I would like to thank you for your participation here. I'm going back to the Zoom and we'll end the share. Maybe I can answer some questions for you.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. Obviously, we have definitely sent some boys your way, and it's great to hear that they are thriving, and your presentation just makes it all the more reason why we love sending boys to Avon Old Farms. It's a wonderful place for boys to really grow. You have a great sense of what boys need and what they're looking for to learn. And so, yeah, we can definitely go ahead and answer some of these questions that I see building up in the chat. So I think you kind of touched on this one a little bit, but like the characteristics of your school that it will be different for others. So I'll say, I'll rephrase it a little bit to say being an all boys school in comparison to maybe some other boys schools. Obviously, you have a beautiful campus and excellent resources and faculty. What would you say is something that really sets you apart? Maybe some like signature programs or anything that you feel is specific to Avon Old Farms. And you can say that from an admission standpoint or from a parent standpoint, since it's so great to hear that your son went through Avon Old Farms and is now post-college. So if you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. I remember my son was lucky enough to get accepted into a few schools. And as parents, I was not affiliated with the school at the time. I was working at a university. So we really had an objective view of what was best for our son. And we asked him why, in the end, he chose to go to Avon Old Farm School. And his answer was quite interesting. He said to us that he wanted to do something out of the box. He wanted to do something that would never again in his life happen, because he, of course, would not go to an all boys university, right? Once he goes to university level, it would be boys and girls. So he wanted to experience this. He was very drawn by the traditions at Avon Old Farm School. That was very appealing to him. And the brotherhoods, the relationships with students in itself, that was very appealing to him. So stepping away then from my parent role to an admissions role, I think the programs that are specifically strong at Avon would be our STEM subjects. It's incredible that we have 4 math levels that are even post-college. So that is a very high level program. And we're finding that students from China very often step into our math program at quite a high level, which is a wonderful opportunity. So no matter what level they already have, we will be able to still find a very challenging class for them, and keep them engaged. So that's a very important part of our program. We also have 3 levels of engineering, which is quite unique in the boarding school world. So our STEM program is exceptionally strong. And then as far as our location, what I just want to mention also is that what is nice about Avon is we have our 800 acres, but at the same time, we are only 5-10 minutes away from Starbucks or from, some of those popular places where the boys like to go. And we run a school shuttle on the weekends. So we don't let students go there during the week, but on the weekends, we provide the school shuttle, and the students are able to go into the town. And, it's a nice town and it's close by. So that's quite convenient.
Yeah, I mean that sounds great. And what a great perspective that your son had, even when you weren't working uh in Avon Old Farms yet. So that's really great, and great to know that that students are able to go to the town on the weekends and everything, and kind of get away from the beautiful campus and see and experience a little bit more of the town. And I'm glad that you mentioned the courses in the STEM program, having advanced, like, post college college level math. Some families are wondering a little bit more about, since you have such a high university ranking in terms of college matriculation, would you say that, since you mentioned the international students from China being particularly advanced in math, in terms of other courses being offered, how would you say that the placement is for international students, and like the rigor for the academics?
Yeah, so coming in, the students often already have a very strong level of English. We are fortunate that we have a lot of applicants from other countries. So we require the TOEFL score, and I would say that on average our TOEFL score is right around 100 or up. So our students can immediately participate in the high level English classes, which also I think helps them so much socially, right? I want the students to, as we say, hit the ground running when they get to us, and that helps them, academically as well as socially. So in total, we offer about 18 or 19 AP classes, depending on the year. And I think that will kind of indicate the academic level that you're looking for.
Wonderful. Thank you for answering that one. I see another family has a question regarding the support children and students would receive when creating. Are they able to create their own club, and would they go about doing that if they have an idea for starting something that maybe doesn't exist at Avon Old Farms yet?
Yes, great question. I love to hear that. We just got a new club this year called the Magic Club. 2 boys, actually both freshmen, had the hobby of doing magic tricks, and they started a club. So yes, we have about 40 clubs. We lose a few every year if there's nobody interested, and then we gain a few new ones every year. So it really goes with the students' interest. And a faculty member always supports the club. So, for example, I'm the head of the international club, and we do international dinners for special international celebrations. We just had Mexican Independence Day. We are coming up on Canadian Thanksgiving. And then in January, of course, we celebrate Lunar New Year. And actually, tomorrow we are having a mooncake Mid-Autumn Festival gathering. So that's what I do with my international club, and students and parents are very supportive of it. But we also do, like more serious things regarding, for example, the Red Cross Club does a blood drive a few times a year. We do Special Olympics, which is a wonderful club. It's there always. Really, really interesting options for the students.
Wonderful. I was actually just going to ask about the Mid-Autumn Festival, if that was something that you celebrated as well, because it's something that we have been talking a lot about In America, for our families. So it's nice to hear that you celebrate all of the holidays and traditions that a lot of your students celebrate, and also to help them feel a little bit more, welcome in the community, and celebrating their culture. It's also good
Yeah,
to spread the culture.
if I may interrupt, Krista, what was so wonderful is that last year at the Mid-Autumn Festival, we made a big announcement for the whole school. And we had so many mooncakes donated by parents that the American boys came out as well and came to try it. So that was so much fun. And I'm bummed that I'm missing it because I'm traveling right now. There's 4 different staff members taking care of it for us tomorrow. So, and I really think that is the nice thing about sharing your culture, right? The Chinese students can share their culture with other students, and at the same time, they can learn about American culture, they can learn about Mexican culture, whatever it may be. So I think that, cross-reference is just so nice for them.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. It is something that I feel very strongly about, experiencing other cultures and kind of spreading that. I think that that's really how you learn about each other and the world, and really just like accepting and being inclusive of others. So I think that's great that your school that's very prevalent. Um, there is another question. Could you share a little bit more details about how this school helps, the boys explore their interests a little bit further? So, for example, if they have an interest in an area that maybe there isn't any coursework on, is Avon Old Farms able to provide any kind of support there?
Yes, good question, actually. That will allow me to jump into our AIP program, which is our Afternoon Independent Project. So if there is a junior or senior at our school who has a very specific interest, for example, the student would like to continue studying medicine. We don't have, a medical program at our school, but we can provide them with a internship at the hospital. And every year we have 2 or 3 students who actually participate either in research or in emergency management programs. We have a few hospitals nearby, and we have a wonderful alumni network that really has allowed us to grow this independent study opportunity. So I'm giving you the example of some medical projects that the students have done. I know one did oncology studies in the laboratory, and then another student, he actually was on the ambulance, which was a fascinating experience for him. Another independent project is one of my advisees is going to do in the spring. He's going to be working in a engineering company and learn all about manufacturing. So those are specific examples of the independent studies project. So in the first 2 years, they have to get the basic courses under their belt so that they can step into these more specific subjects with a good foundation. And then we can really already see what their interests are and tune in on how we can help them further explore that.
Wonderful. I think it's great. I'm glad you used the medical example. That is something that kind of came to mind in terms of independent research and things like that. Sometimes they just want to dive deeper into a particular topic. Excuse me. And there are some other questions families are wondering that it sounds like there are so many activities and things to do at Avon Old Farms, and balancing academics and extracurriculars. Can you share how students manage their time, and how you kind of, as a school, provide support for students who may need some help figuring out how best to do that?
Yes, that is definitely a learning curve for the students. The days are very long at Avon and they are going to be very busy. It's part of that all boys approach as well. What we're finding is that a busy boy or a busy student is actually a more organized student. If we give them free time, they are not always the most organized, but because they are so busy at our school, they will be very organized. And as far as paying attention to their academic requirements, we have mandatory study hall every night, as well as tutoring every night. So after they are finished with dinner, they really need to start focusing on their academics, and the teachers are actually proctoring the study hall. We ask them to put their phones in the hallway, and the teacher is going to check on that. And so the boys really need to focus on their academic work. So the balance of having that sports activity in the afternoon, having a good meal, and then going into your study hall and tutoring has worked very well for our students. If students in the beginning, maybe they're still a little young, right? When they come to us in ninth grade, if they need some extra help, we have a learning center. And at the learning center, they can really get a lot of support, especially regarding time management. We find that the students sometimes in the ninth grade need a little support there. And then as they're growing and maturing, they will outgrow the need to go to the learning center. But the support is definitely there if they need it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for letting us know that. I think that is the biggest learning curve. I think when you transition kind of from a boarding school, from a day school into a boarding school for many students. Some families are wondering, I think I know the answer to this, but if maybe you can share specifically to Avon Old Farms, arranging a visit to the school, are students able, when they tour the school, are they able to get in touch with current students or maybe alumni to kind of share their experience? Are the tours led by student ambassadors?
Yeah, so the way we organize it at Avon, as you know, Krista, is that when the family comes to visit at Avon, we have an admission living room. And every day, the admission living room is staffed with 3 of our current students. So while the student is waiting for the tour or after the tour, there are students for them to talk to. Often those students exchange contact information, they stay in touch. And then also, if you would like to speak specifically with a student who's also from your country, we have a wonderful network of our current students, our recent alumni, parent volunteers, who all are happy to help. For example, when my colleague Chris Webb is traveling to China in the fall, our receptions will be quite busy because we have a wonderful alumni network and they all enjoy staying in touch with us and with each other. So if, for example, a student from Beijing would like to connect with another family from Beijing, either he's at our school still or he's already in college or after college, we can arrange those connections easily.
Wonderful. I said I probably could answer this question, but figured to pass it on to you just for clarification. Final question is, parents are wondering, I think it's obviously a concern with them being so far away, is how does Avon Old Farms ensure safety of students? So you said that about like letting them go off campus and things like that. So if you can go into some details about that, that would be great.
Yes, of course. And as a mom, I totally understand this question so well. So we are having a very structured leave request program. If a student has to leave the campus or wants to leave the campus on the weekends, they have to check out with the teacher and they have to indicate where he is going. If it is a school organized trip, or maybe he's going to an American friend's house, whatever it may be, he needs to get prior permission from the school and also from the family where he's going. We just want to double check that on both ends that we know where the student is at all times. The other part of safety, of course, is within our campus. All our doors have a key code, and the students need their student's ID card to be able to enter the buildings. So that's another part of safety. And then, of course, we have safety professionals on our campus, and all our campus safety professionals are former police officers. And so I feel very safe on our campus. I feel like we're in very good hands. And safety is very important. We need to look out for each other as well. And that's a good opportunity to jump into a conversation too, that we have the monitors in the dorms and we have the assistant monitors. They need to keep an eye on each other as well, and they do such a good job of that. We get reports sometimes, or especially the first few weeks, a boy may be a little bit homesick, may need a little bit of time to get used to it, and they pick each other up and they support each other. They let the dorm parent know. We invite them for a special meal. We do something special to make them feel at home. And the busy schedule, of course, helps too, because they will be very busy, and being in the routine of school will help them so much getting settled at the school. So yes, safety is important, and I think we do a good job in several different levels of that.
Wonderful. I actually have one final question. That was the final question from the chat. What would you say, and obviously you mentioned a little bit about your son. I'm kind of wondering if there is like a common theme among students, if you have any, alumni who come back to visit or anything, if they share kind of like their fondest memory of Avon Old Farms once they've left and kind of gone off to do new things.
What I would say is that we celebrate a boy with his successes, right? And I think that is something that my son vividly remembers. He was a strong athlete, and he came to Avon, he thought, for sports, but then he realized his academic successes were so celebrated. And those things can be hand in hand. They are not mutually exclusive, like they are at some other, schools, I would say. So the boys celebrating and respecting each other, celebrating their successes, I think is so important. They really are friends, even if one of them is an artist and the other one is a scholar and the other one is an athlete. They will still sit next to each other in the lunchroom and all have that community time together. I think we call it the beautiful bubble of Avon. It's like out of this world. People ask sometimes, "Is this real?" And I have to say, like, yes, it is real. It's a beautiful part of going to a prep school, and especially I think in our community, being friendly, being respected for whoever you are. Is very important, and our staff and administration encourages that, and then the boys follow that. The boys pick up on that, and they continue to encourage each other. So I think their memories will be such that they say, I made such good friends there, and I have someone to call if I get to a different city, and this person is also from Avon. They will connect together.
That all just sounds so wonderful. A real true brotherhood, I would say. It sounds like everybody is really connected, and that the school does really wonderful things to support them and really help them thrive and be successful, in kind of all aspects of life. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. And it was wonderful to hear, that personally you have a connection as well, not just professionally. And so maybe makes Avon Old Farms even that much more special to you. So thank you again for joining us. We are grateful for the presentation. It really provided a lot of information about Avon Old Farms and everything about it. I think it painted a clearer picture for all of our families, what it's all about. And we're so glad again to hear that students we have sent you in the past are thriving there. It's always wonderful to hear where they are today. So thank you, Crystal. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Krista, and thank you to your audience. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival to everyone. And I hope to be back in China very, very soon myself. But like I said, my colleague is on his way almost, end of November, beginning of December. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the day. And xie xie.
Thank you so much.